safe to say it's a team that chose itself?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the team has basically evolved through the pre-season. Naturally, in pre-seasons, not all plans come together, and some athletes are a little bit still behind the timeline, but they'll be ready in time. But ultimately, yeah, we've gone for the best mix based on the way that we've prepared and the way that the athletes have performed during the trial phase.
Good question, John. Is a guy like Trevor Nakani, how far is he? Has he been speaking of injuries or the fact that he's catching up with the matrix that he was?
Yeah, Trevor's not far away. He probably really dependent upon himself. The program won't change clearly, but he'll be 1 week, maybe 2 weeks. So it's really depends on what he does in the next 2 weeks. Clearly, if there's injury, then that becomes a different plan. But he's going well. He's obviously a player that has great ability to play both sides of the scrum, and we've got some wonderful competition within the group, healthy competition. And the guys realise that it comes down to what you do as opposed to what your past has presented.
Tim Manipoli, surprised many people, but what is it about him that stood out?
Firstly, I think Burger will share with me the sentiments that he's enjoyed by his peers, basically because he's very quiet about the way he goes about things. He's eliminated some of the errors out of his game in the trial phase. When he first started pre-season, naturally, when new guys come to a club, it can be quite nerve-breaking for them. Clearly, he wasn't aligned to how we do things, so it took him a while. But he's really demonstrated excellent work both on and off the field. He's leaned up enormously, and the guys say that he's pretty hard as well. So I wouldn't like to run into him, but and hopefully a few Hurricanes don't enjoy running into him either.
Just on that, John, what would you say is his virtues as a player, as a blindside flanker, what he does well for you?
He's deliberate. There's no fancy stuff about Timboli. He will, if he needs to carry, he'll carry. Clearly, we're trying to develop his game pre-tackle line as well with pass, and that sort of becomes sort of like a double threat, and I think that'll grow over time. But yeah, he certainly doesn't have a great footwork. Not that it's necessary, because he finds other ways to win the game on.
John, you included Marco on the bench, and I'm right, he usually didn't make the 38-man squad. Is he a good example of somebody that worked hard to impress you to get into the team?
Yeah, Marco had a very good carry cut. Again, has come from tucks. Has played really well, growing as a result of, continuity in the position. We lost Stoney in carry cut with an injury. He obviously had something else cleaned up, so yeah, he's been an injury cover replacement for Stoney, and will continue to be that injury cover replacement until Stoney does become available. So, and that could be halfway through the competition. So yeah, Marco's got the head start, and he does bring the ability to play 6 and 7. We can quicken up the game in the last 25 minutes. We can also get a double fetcher in the game as well. So he does present those kind of skill sets with having him and Rudolph on the pitch at some stage together.
John, just with Marco and Tembolani now specifically, you must be really encouraged and chuffed that even at this early juncture of the season, you are cultivating a culture where guys aren't discouraged about initially being left out of the Super Rugby squad, that just continue keeping on working and then actually getting unexpectedly almost into that squad. You must be really chuffed that this dynamic is already starting to cultivate.
Building team cohesion is an intangible that's challenging at any sporting level. It's something that you always want, but you're not sure how you're going to get it. But the only way that you can do it is by creating clarity and role and confidence in the athletes, and that's something that we're about. So it doesn't matter who's selected or not selected, just be ready. And clearly, we see that those two younger players that we're just talking about are ready, and that's great.
I know when on a Gala Gandhi he's struggled with injuries for the last 2 seasons. Do you find him to probably be the best shape of his life and his influence on the team itself and what you expect from him on Saturday?
Yeah, he's looking really healthy. It's amazing to hear the sponsors talk about health. It is critical, and we appreciate that sponsorship, by the way. Health is critical. It's a critical starting point in order to become robust. So, yeah, he's certainly done something about how he fuels his body. He's lean, and he's on the pitch every day, working at his game. So that gives you a good example that he's potentially becoming resilient as well. So, a healthy, robust, resilient Andre Pollard. If we can get, we're not going to get 18 games out of the guy because we have to manage load as well. But if we've got him for a majority of the games, then that augurs well. This whole competition is about having continuity as much as you can in 23, because that does build team cohesion, that does build confidence, and allows you to become a lot more consistent in how you go about your things.
John, I assume the same applies for Adrian with the resilience and all these niggles in previous season as well, that you wouldn't have included him if he wasn't absolutely spot on there.
Yeah, I'd like to look at it another way, Pete. Adrian needs to be commended for the way that he's come into the program. He's taken on new challenges. I think he is refreshed by not actually having to carry any form of leadership. It's remarkable the way that he's passing on to younger players around him in their position. He's leading by example through his actions, and he looks really refreshed, and there'll come a point in time where he'll get the green button to start as well. So it's going to be really exciting when he does get that opportunity. But for this week, we just see that he will contribute as a finisher, and I think he understands how important that role is. He certainly will play a very important part in the second group of set piece going into the later stages of the match.
John, the Bulls have not beaten the Canes, I think, in the past 3 games. Is this where you turn it around against them and set the tone for the rest of the season?
It's the first performance. At the end of the day, when we decide to outwork teams, then will be very difficult to stop. So let's hope that starts this weekend.
John, the Lions showed last week, no matter how the game progresses, scrummaging will still change the course of the game of the scrum. Are you happy with the progress in the scrum?
Yeah, actually, I was talking to Potter about it this morning. Actually, it's amazing how the scrum still determines, can change mindset, determines field position, it determines points. So yeah, it is a critical area. We've grown in that area, and we'll continue to grow. We're certainly not the finished article in that area, but it is also an area where you can create and form great perception amongst the people that decide decisions in the middle, and perception is an amazing thing. Like if you have a great scrum, then everyone else talks about that. So ultimately, that set piece area is very critical. It has been a big part of our program in the pre-season as well. It's not, everyone sees a whole, but there's so many little small things in that area now that is critical to getting an advantage.
Coach, how do you deal with the burden of expectation? Because in some quarters, this is really seen as a donor for the groups.
Sorry, can you repeat the end of that question?
How do you deal with the burden of expectation? Because in many quarters, this campaign is seen as a donor for the groups.
Yeah, expectation is always on you. There's always pressure. It's how you embrace it. It's how you use it. While we respect the past dynasties, there have also been other tenures that haven't quite hit the nail as well. So what's important for us is to control what we can control and focus on what we have, rather than being driven by somebody else's history. Let us create that timeline. When that timeline arrives, we will be deserving. As I said to you earlier, when we decide to outwork teams, then we'll present ourselves every opportunity to become consistent and present ourselves the opportunity to become the best in the competition. So that's really up to ourselves, but that's not determined by somebody else's history or expectation.
John, I think most supporters will feel that the Hurricanes come here as the favourites. Does that underdog tag suit the Bulls?
Pretty good side they've named, isn't it? We're looking forward to it. It's, as I think I might have already mentioned, that it's quite good to get started against the New Zealand side. They test you all over the place, and that's really good for us because our preparation has been very much about that and having the ability to deal with both forms of the game. So to get tested early, and there's going to be probably plenty of ball moved around between both teams, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of kicking pressure as well. There's going to be a lot of set piece pressure, and I think both teams are going to generally bring a pretty much line speed in the game. So it's going to be an exciting contest.
What are the challenges of kickstarting your campaign against a top team like the Hurricanes?
Sorry, repeat that again.
The challenge of kickstarting your campaign against a top team like the Hurricanes?
It's not always going to go all your way. So again, as I said before, when we decide to outwork the opposition, then we'll present ourselves every opportunity. So when we decide to outwork teams, which we didn't decide that last year, then I think we'll present ourselves every opportunity to get better and better. So looking forward to it.
Coach, what's your thoughts on Beauden Barrett is on the bench compared to the experience and the players that you have on the bench? What do you make of that?
Yeah, he's a world-class player, Bodie. I thought he would be on the bench, to be fair. He's an All Black. He's been an All Black captain. He's a high-performance athlete. He could go 25, 30 minutes. I'd certainly, if I was in their shoes, be doing the same thing. So, he's very good, but he's probably also going to have to adjust to the game, depending on the scoreboard, depending on the pressure in the game. It's going to create challenges for himself as well.
From a player point of view, you guys could have asked for better opponents to start off the game.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully the public is as excited as us. I think we almost have more people in the media conference than we had in the stands last year. So we're very keen to get it started, and hopefully the people will come out.
It's been a testing probably pre-season. You guys have played a whole lot number of games. Do you feel as if you guys have ticked the boxes that you wanted to tick coming into this week?
I think there's always stuff that you're going to have to work on. It's never going to be perfect. But I think it's been a good pre-season for us, and I think the coach has had the plan how he wants to play against the Hurricanes for basically the past 4 weeks. So I think everything is clear cut for us. We just have to go out and perform. If we stick to the structures, the outcome will take care of itself.
Burger facing players like the Surveyors, Beauden Barrett, does that intimidate you guys, or is it a fact? Will it lift your game?
It's not very intimidating. I think it's more of a motivation, especially for our young players. I remember last year Duncan played against Sevilla, and in the beginning of the week everyone gave him a chirp, and I think he had a great game. He still scored an absolute brilliant try against them. So I think it's more of motivation than intimidation for us.
John, sorry, just back to Andre. Given his career path, I mean, he was elevated quite quickly to the Springboks, and then he had a very stop-start campaign last year, was out for the whole of 2016. Just from your perspective and a message to the rugby public in general, what should be the expectations of Andre this year? Is this probably still a year where he actually has to show the broader public what he's actually really made of, given the fact that he hasn't played all that much actually?
Yeah, it's not about showing the public. He'll do that naturally. It's about him actually proving it to himself. So if he remains healthy and robust for the whole competition, then the Springboks are going to receive an outstanding athlete. So as long as he just continues to concentrate on what he's doing now, he'll be fine. I think to allow somebody else's expectation to control you is danger in my view. But nothing better than seeing somebody like Andre Pollard healthy. We're very fortunate as well. He can play 12, and so we're also very fortunate to have Manas Bosnov as well. And he's very experienced, so that combination will be seen at some point in the competition. Then we've got Mani Lippik, who's the up and coming, and then you've got Francis Brimmer, that's versatile as well. So we've got a number of options up our sleeve, so we can manage Andre as well, and he can play 12, which excites me as well.
Brother, do you feel as if 3 years now this team has sort of put together, in the past there's been a lot of expectation of talent within the team itself. Do you feel as if you guys are a better off team or with the experience you've gained and find yourselves in a better, probably mental space?
I think it's definitely true. But like I said to Kubas, we see in the week as well, you don't want to make promises. Like Jakob Sagi says, to talk is downhill, to do is uphill. So we know what the challenges are, and we just have to stick as a team. We've played in Currie Cup, and some of the guys played Super Rugby last year. So I think it's definitely better to play a few games together. So hopefully it shows on the field.
Guys like yourself and Andrew would use some of probably your debuts, your against New Zealand sides, and would use some of your best rugby. Do you feel as if playing against New Zealand opposition and the way you guys want to play would lead you guys into playing some of the best rugby that this team wants to play?
Yes, I think we set a few standards that we want to chase in the campaign, and if we stick to the process, the outcome will come. So basically, we just want to go out. If we play against an Australian team or New Zealand team or even a South African team, I don't think it's going to be that different. Maybe a few things that change in the week, but we're going to stick to the process. And I think all the guys getting an opportunity to play against different opposition is also a great challenge for us. So you have to be at your best every weekend.
Okay, thank you very much, Captain Coach. Thanks again.